stop hoping and wishing, right? Don't wait for Mondays to be magical. Don't wait until after the holidays because you might not even make it to the holidays. Ready.
All right, ladies and gents, boys and girls, I got my brother, Coach Tony Drake, in the house. Health, wealth, fitness, and mindset, right?
Yep.
So we did an interview how you can crush your year in the beginning of the year, which we'll link to up here. And it's time to do a half-year roundup, Tony. What do you think? Should we go?
Yeah, man.
Let's go, brother. So without further ado, you've been my brother for almost a decade now. And more handsomer, of course. But that being said, I think you have evolved so much even when we started doing the first interviews. And I think you have a lot of things that you have learned. And I feel like for a half-year roundup, let's hear a little bit about where people who want to recalibrate and say, tomorrow is the day I'm taking action. You know, let's jump into that a little bit.
Yeah.
And take it away, Tony.
So last time we spoke, we talked about, okay, getting ready for the new year, right? You don't have to necessarily wait till January 1st to get started. Just get started.
Facts.
Right? Now it's summertime. We're halfway through the year. And it's like, well, I want to get ready for summer. Well, summer's here. If you didn't jump in then, well, now you're going to wait until after the holidays. That's the mentality that most people have.
Right.
But my thing is like, there's no magic in Mondays. There's no magic in January 1st. There's no magic of getting ready for summertime. Just get started.
Right.
Quit waiting for one day and just start your day one. Right. So that's what I want to talk about today, because there's a lot of people who are literally just waiting for that special day, but there is no special day.
I agree.
Right. Just make it happen.
And I've seen some parallels. If we are looking at like YouTube, right? There are people who really would like to become YouTubers or like create content for YouTube.
Yeah.
But they're waiting for the perfect equipment. They're waiting for the perfect time in their lives.
Right.
They're waiting for the perfect YouTube studio that they need to build out. And I'm a big believer in taking one step in the right direction every day.
Yeah.
That's why I, for example, like journal for gratitude. I journal for mindset, right? To just set myself up a little bit every day. And of course, we get it. Life gets busy and life's not easy wherever you may be. This is meant to encourage you and not to tell you, hey, you're lazy and get off the couch. But small incremental steps in the right direction go a long way if you do that 360 days a year, right?
Man, and the other thing is this, is like, it starts with the first step. The hardest step is literally, the hardest step to take is the first one. I'm going to the gym at 4 a.m., waking up at 2:45. The hardest part is not working out. The hardest part is getting out of bed.
Right.
That's the first step.
Right.
And then getting out the door. And once I'm out the door, I'm at the gym and I'm with my community of people and we're working out together. Dude, the rest of the day is a breeze.
Right.
Because I took care of the hardest step, which was the first one. So if you can't take care of the first step, how do you expect to take care of everything else?
And I feel it. And even that, right? You're saying, hey, I wake up. Okay. All of us wake up, right? But then this thing, I got to go to the gym.
It's Monday.
And we all have that to a certain extent, but you can reframe this with gratitude, right? I have a gym to go to.
I get to wake up another day.
I get to wake up another day. There's so many people who are lying on their deathbeds right now who want what you have.
Exactly.
Who want what we have.
Right.
Right? And so one thing I wanted to say is I've been in a spot in my life where I worked in a call center. It was extremely challenging for me because I've always had flexibility around my work.
Yeah.
But after a failed business and a failed marriage, I needed to find employment again that was at least helping me take a step in the right direction. And I wanted to, work in a certain industry, needed to get licenses.
Yeah.
And so the call center and the opportunity to get licensed for what I do was I'm not saying the easiest way, but was one of the ways that I determined for myself. But waking up to the job and then being motivated to work out was challenging.
Yeah.
So what I did was I had a system, right? I'm a big systems fan.
Yep.
So what I did was I packed my workout gear and I said, on my way home from work, I will have to stop by the gym. I've worked out for more than 30 years, bro. I didn't want to go work out after a day in the call center, right? I could have also done it first things in the mornings, but I did other things. So for me, it was in the afternoons because I dropped my daughters off at school as a single parent before they could drive, right? And so I would drive to the gym and I would sit in my car days and I was like, do I really want to go in there?
Right.
With my And what I did was I said, maybe I meditated for 10 minutes, listened to music, and then I said, it's time to get into the gym and at least do 10 push-ups. I have days when everything was hard, but I went in and out of 10 became 30 push-ups. And when that blood starts flowing, it becomes easy, right?
Right.
And so I feel like if you were stuck in this thing like, oh, I need to start on that certain day, like Tony pointed out earlier, just take one step in the right direction. Go for that walk, or maybe stop by your gym or your activity of choice that gets you active and give it a whirl, right?
Yeah. Going back to what you said in the beginning is like people go, oh, I have to get up in the morning. Oh, I have to go to work on Monday. No, you get to get up. There's a lot of people, like you said, who are laying in their deathbed wishing they can take your spot, right? Go switch spots with that person and see how you feel.
Right.
See if you say the same thing.
Right.
And so I'm tired of people literally just saying, oh, I have to get up. Oh, my schedule doesn't fit. Oh, this doesn't work for me. No, stupid, you don't work for you. I call people out now. Because I'm tired of the sugarcoating and I'm tired of people saying, oh, I have to go do this. No, you get to go do this. Look at every single opportunity that you have to do as a blessing.
Well,
that's grateful.
That's an interesting point. It's the first time I hear you say you get more direct with people. I'm a believer sometimes you got to move with the carrot, other times with the stick. I'm not saying you should come with a stick, but sometimes I feel like people need the unvarnished truth. How has this changed in your approach and why did you make this change and how is this helping people?
Because being direct with respect helps people.
Okay.
There's a lot of sugarcoating. There's a lot of, oh, you'll be fine. It's okay. But that person is never taken care of because there's nobody that's being direct with them and saying, here's where you're messing up. But here's the solution to the problem.
Right.
There's nobody saying that.
Okay.
How can you tell somebody it's going to be okay and just put a period at the end? What goes on from there? Sure. It's a matter of saying, you know what? Here's where you're falling short at, but here's the solution to the problem.
Right.
You have a problem with your health. You have a problem with your gut. You have a problem with your mental fogness in your brain. Here's the solution to the problem, and I can help you. But if I go, oh, Ace, you'll be fine. Hey, you know what? Tough times are going to happen.
But you'll be fine.
But you'll be fine. What does that do for you?
And I feel like, no, for me, I've been in that spot, and it made me feel alone.
Right.
Because, of course I'm a capable dude, but when I pushed against this resistance and didn't know where to go next or how to zigzag, and you just hear this, man, like, I know you got this, Ace, you're smart, you'll be fine. It's a nice way to be encouraged, right? But I don't think in the grand scheme of things that's terribly helpful. And that's why I think coaching, like you do it, is so valuable. Right. One of the things I wanted to say is, guys, Tony coaches also private groups, and I had the opportunity to observe one of his coaching sessions, or actually a couple of his coaching sessions. And having that community and having somebody to lean on in tough times, be that him as a coach, be that another accountability partner, that is really something a lot more people need.
Yeah.
And finding that right accountability partner does take some time to unearth, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it does. It does. And there's a lot of people who will go through certain groups of people or certain coaches, and they're like, that just wasn't, it didn't hit me.
Right.
Right. And people need that. They want that. They're looking for that.
Right.
So now I don't want to hold back, but I don't also want to be disrespectful. Sure. I want to be very respectful, but I also want to just say, look, I went from being fat to fit, back to fat again. Imagine this for a minute. Imagine you were 335 pounds. Then you lost 80 pounds in a year. You kept it off for 12 years, and then you gained all the way back.
Right.
How would you feel?
Well, like a failure probably.
Okay.
Right.
But then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I can't live like this for the rest of my life. I have to go back and change. And when you change and you've been through those transitions, you learn a lot through each transition that you've gone through.
Absolutely.
So you take what you've learned and you apply that here, and then you give that to the world.
Right.
Because you know they're going through the similar things that you've gone through.
Well, if you have the awareness, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you learn through that. And when you learn from that, you just say, you know what? I know what you're going through. I know you're dealing with your gut health. I know you're dealing with all kind of mental unclarity and uncertainty. I went through that too. And I know the exact thing to do to help you get through that.
Right. And I can't remember if it was, who said that? It was, I think, a business tycoon, right? He's like, it is so nice to have somebody who helps you avoid the mistakes that they have made.
Right.
And that's obviously the definition of coaching or mentorship.
Right.
Right? Zigzag in that direction if you need to zigzag, and don't stay stagnant.
Right.
I forgot to say one thing. When I was in your group coaching call and hearing that, Tony, you saved my life because I was on the way to destroying my health and my health and my marriage.
Yeah.
That was so powerful to me to hear that. By just being an empathetic listener and by having gone through the transitions you just pointed out, that you are able to have that type of impact on not one person, not two, not five. I think there were 20 to 25 people in your coaching call that morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
kudos to that, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I
really do.
love that you're doing that work, and I really hope that everybody at some point in their life will be able to have that sort of support in whatever form that may come, because it makes such a big difference.
It does. To help somebody save or change their life is monumental. How can you take that away from somebody? Right. And now they get to go make an impact on other people.
Right.
So I'm still having that same direct communication with them. Very respectful, of course. I don't call people out. I don't shame anybody or anything.
You're not like, you're a dummy.
Nothing like that. But
not.
it's just more so of just being real.
Right.
And just tell them how it is.
Right.
There's a lot of sugarcoating. There's a lot of placating. There's a lot of, oh, boo, you're going to be fine. 57th place is totally fine. No, it's not.
Right.
We all want to be number one, because here's what happens. Those people who are 57th place and they've been sugarcoated all their life and they've been told it's okay, you'll hang in there, you'll be fine. When they see people who are winning, they go, oh, that person's lucky. Right. Oh, he's taking steroids. Oh, he's cheating. She's cheating. No, we put in the work.
I'm sure, are you still eating a plant-based diet?
Yeah.
I'm sure you hear this all the time. You can't be looking like you're doing a plant-based diet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, they don't know what it's like because they don't put in the work. They don't try. They don't execute, and they don't remain consistent.
Right.
Just remain consistent. But number one, just get started. Just get over the hardest step, which is the first one.
Right.
Be consistent with it. Stop making excuses. Stop blaming other people. Stop being comfortable. Stop being complacent, and you'll eventually get to where you want to be.
Right.
But you can't do that by complaining and just guessing and hoping and praying and wishing. You can't do it.
Right. You said one very interesting thing to me just a couple of days ago. You said that I don't have the numbers, so you may have to correct me, but about more than 60-70% of San Diegans here deal with health problems.
Close. 93% of people in San Diego have some type of form of sickness.
Okay, can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah.
San Diego, if you guys don't know it, San Diego, the city has about 1.3 million people, and with San Diego County, we're looking at 3.3 million people. That's a lot of sickness if you, if we call it that, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of people who are dealing with migraines, type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetic, high blood pressure, obesity. I used to have high blood pressure. I had acid reflux. I've had GERD, right? Erectile dysfunction.
Right.
There's muscle loss. There's a lot of women who are menopausal or perimenopausal. They're going through gaining more fat and losing more muscle. Their hair is falling out. That's a form of sickness. Right. So what happens is when you have all these different ailments that are going on in the body, what's causing that? There has to be something that's causing majority of people to get sick. Okay. So if people are having irritable bowel syndrome, if people are having constant pain and aches and joints in their body, and they're in their 30s or 40s or 50s, we're not old. our body is designed to be amazing, but there's something that's causing our bodies to fall down a lot faster.
Sure, that makes sense.
Right. So when you have a population here in San Diego and 93% of people are sick, why? Like, I thought with evolution and technology and all this kind of stuff, we should be feeling better.
But don't you think that's a bit of a lifestyle issue as well? And I'm not saying that people choose necessarily an unhealthy lifestyle, but I remember I had to sit in traffic going to work.
Yeah.
Right? My time was very compressed.
Yeah.
Like, let alone like a doctor's visit, right? You need to put that in your calendar, figure out time around the kids, figure out time around work.
Yeah.
And go. And so that's a lot of resistance that you have to overcome. And even going to your doctor, let's talk about that for a minute, right?
Yeah.
Even your doctor is not, for example, a trained nutritionist. So you've heard this saying from the ancient Greek philosophers, let food be thy medicine.
Right. Right.
Most doctors don't even have a basic education in nutrition. So when we're looking at food here, right? We eat so much processed food. Let that be the pizza sticks. Let that be you name it.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think about it like this.
Your spring rolls. There's so much stuff that we are not mindful of when we go out and eat and go about our day-to-day business.
Right.
Right? And then everything is compounded by the lack of time that we have. So how do you get around that as a coach? How do people start making better choices?
Yeah, it all starts here mentally, right? And so you got to tell yourself, if I want to live a long time, I got to take care of me here and I got to take care of me here. Then you start to research. Then you start to surround yourself with people or ask questions. Ask questions and surround yourself with people who have been an expert in this field.
So modeling excellence.
Yeah.
I feel that.
And we're all out there. I mean, dude, this is the information there. We're all on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, etc.
Absolutely.
So there's people out there who are actually living the lifestyle of saying, hey, I was in your shoes before, and now I'm here and I can help you, right? So number one, you're sitting in traffic, right? You didn't make the time to go and prepare your meals, right? So what do? You go through a drive-through and you get your coffee. You load it with sugar, 60 grams of sugar, 14 grams of fat, right? You're sitting in traffic and now you get to work and now you're starting to feel this high all of a sudden, but then you crash.
Right.
Right. And then all of a sudden you're starting,
because your fundamentals is not right.
Right. But so that your blood drops, you're starting to snack, and then your insulin goes up again, and then you crash. And then you up and then you crash. So your day is literally going like this. Up and down, up and down, up and down.
And having awareness of that is so key. Right? Because oftentimes people they're not where you're at. They don't even equate that what they put into their body has an output on their performance.
Right.
But I'll give you a very easy example, right? If you were to go to the races here at Del Mar in San Diego, we have horse races.
Yeah.
And you bet on a horse. Would you bet on the horse that just ate Mickey D's and drank 60 grams of sugar and then maybe did a good amount of TV before the race? Or would you bet on the horse that eats carrots and whatever else horses eat, that gets appropriate rest and then goes out and performs? Like, I know what horse I'd be betting on.
Right, exactly.
But even in the workplace, bro, like, I mean, I've sat in so many meetings where, like, here's a box of donuts, and here are the sugary drinks.
Right.
And then if you were not aware, you just partake in that.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, hey, can you give me some fruit and veggies or some edible arrangements or whatever? You know what I mean?
And what happens is when you start to consume those foods, the addictive ingredients that are in the foods keep you coming back for more.
Of course.
Right? So then what's happening, you're taking all these ingredients in your body that you don't even know of, and then you go back for more. All of a sudden, you become more sick, more tired, more bloated, more fat. And all of a sudden, here comes somebody that says, just take these pills. Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah, and I'll see you in 90 days.
Right. I would like to take a pill to be fit. So I don't need to go to the gym anymore because, you know, I would like to outsource that. I haven't found a way yet. You know, no, but seriously, like, there is no easy solution to that.
Nah, no quick fix.
So now that we have established the framework of what people are struggling with, right?
Right.
And I'm sure you can dive even deeper into the health stuff. But what are some of the tools that you found effective to help people to take that first step? So how do people take the first step? And then how do you help people stay consistent?
Well, the first thing is that they have to find their purpose in life. If they don't have a purpose in life, if they're just moseying around and just being like, I'm here,
okay, let's do this, Tony. You know, I go to work and I don't, you know, I do it, but I'm not passionate about it, and
Yeah.
I just don't know what to do. So what are we doing?
So you're just wasting air, really. You don't have a purpose in life.
But I don't want to waste air. So how do I find purpose?
Well, number one is that you got to find out what's valuable to you. Is it your health? Is it your family?
I don't know.
Well, that's what we got to talk about, right? So we got to talk about what makes you feel valuable in life.
I love my kids.
Okay, good. And how do you demonstrate that? Do you let them just sit around and play video games all day and you just snack and drink and eat? You know what I mean? Like you got to be that living example for them, right? And so that's where you start. Okay, what's my purpose in life? I want to be a healthy father. I want to be a healthy husband and a fit father.
So find your why.
Yeah.
And
the purpose in life. If you don't have that, how are you going to become more motivated?
Right. And I think from what I've observed, people do struggle finding their whys. I mean, the people who have kids oftentimes say, yeah, my kids are my motivator.
Yeah.
Right. But there are also a lot of people who don't have kids. So how do they find their why?
You just find self. Like, do you want to live like this as yourself for the rest of your life? If you're comfortable with that, then that's you.
Right.
Right. But we all want to change for the better. So if we just start with self and just say, I need to improve myself. I want to be able to make more money. I want to be able to look better. I want to be able to feel better. It starts there with self.
Okay.
I can't if you were my son,
right?
I can't put 100% effort into you if I'm feeling 10%.
That makes just good sense.
Right? So it's like I have to give myself 100% first before I even come your way and start teaching you to feel better.
I feel that.
Okay. So
and it's like, if you are subdued, how do you elevate other people?
You got to take care of you first.
You got to take care of yourself first before you can elevate and pull other people onto the table.
Right.
Because it is a lot harder to pull somebody onto the table than, people reaching out to you when you're not solid and pulling you off the table. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because those who are feeling sick want to pull you down.
Right.
And you keep climbing up and they're like, oh, but this complaint. Oh, but this blaming. Oh, and this person. And you're like, dude, just get off me. I'm trying to get here.
Right.
And so if you keep succumbing to what they're telling you, you're going to be right back down here.
Right.
No, I'm trying to go this way. Right. So that's where it starts. You take care of you first.
And you figure out, hey, what's important to me?
Well, I mean,
right. If you don't have kids, what's your purpose? Right. If you are not satisfied with your current situation, then think about one thing that you would like to see change within 3, 6, 9 months. Right.
That's the most important part, is talking about self first. That's why it's self-development, personal development, individual development, right? How can I go on a group coaching call and help other people if I'm over here just flat out drunk, eating snacks all day, bloated, tired? I can't. They'll sense that energy right away.
You'd be an amazing comedian.
Right. They be laughing. They be like, yeah, okay, this dude next. Right. The 335-pound version of me couldn't give that to everybody.
I believe so.
Right. So we have to start with self. From there, we start to execute on our purpose.
Okay.
So if I'm saying I want to become the best version of me, I want to be fit, I want to be healthy, I want to look great, I want to serve my wife, I want to serve my daughter, and I'm not executing towards that, then it's just a wish, dog.
Right. And I feel like writing things down, no matter how minuscule they are, is a great tool. I did a video that we'll link up to here on vision boarding toward the end of last year. So if you don't have a vision for yourself, take an hour or two, do it by yourself, or sit down with a friend and carve out a vision board. If you'd like to see that tool, like, we'll link to it here, right? But you need to develop a little bit of a vision and a game plan for yourself.
So this is where a lot of people start to say, I don't have 2 hours to write a vision board.
Okay.
But they got 2 hours to watch Netflix.
Right.
They got 2 hours to go scroll on Instagram and TikTok and see who's fighting and whose drama is being created.
Yes.
Right. And then when it comes to self, they will say, I don't have self. I don't have time. Right.
So what you're then saying is, it's not my priority, right?
Right.
And again, this is not to finger point, but this is to help you raise your awareness, because we all have the same 24 hours in a day.
Right.
And dedicating, even if you can't sit down for 2 hours to do a vision board or to outlay a basic plan, you can take 5 minutes and start. And the next day you can take 5 minutes. If you do that 7 days a week, you've spent 35 minutes on it. If you feel like you can increase that to 10 and you do it 7 days a week, you've had 70 minutes and you're done.
Right.
It's not that complicated.
It's not. And here's the other thing too, is that people start their weekend on a Thursday. From a Thursday to Sunday. So I want you guys to think about this in a very numerical form, and why when people see my results, they just think I'm lucky.
Right.
Or they think I'm taking steroids.
Oh, I love that. When somebody tells me I'm lucky and I need to maybe work on myself, but it's frustrating to me. Because if you abdicate, like, let's say your wellness, your good relationship with your wife and daughter, and, you know, your stable employment now, and your physique and your physical fitness, if they confuse that with luck, to me, it's almost an insult, right? Because the harder I work, the luckier I get. Tony Robbins once said, luck is labor under control knowledge. And I know you didn't wake up like that.
Right.
You know, looking fit and looking great, but being lucky. You weigh 330 pounds, bro.
Yeah.
You know, you weren't this lucky, right? I mean, yeah, genetically speaking, you know, like, I'll never be as big as you, but I'll be fit, and I can make that happen. And it has nothing to do with luck.
Right. It has to do with execution.
Right.
And being married to a process and married to
The
progress.
process and a system.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You got to be married to that.
I just heard it last night. Somebody said to me, oh, you're lucky to have bought an apartment building. They didn't know that I looked for 2 years and I looked at 100 deals per year. That took up most of my spare time that was not allocated to work and my loved ones and my friends, right? I was always out there looking for real estate, and it took 2 years to close one deal. And I had a great mentor, maybe I would have done it faster, but I was married to my process, and I looked. So on the tip of the iceberg, you see the luck, right? The quote unquote luck. You see like a successful person. You just don't know what's going on under the hood. Like how many hours of like hard work, self-development, and like saying no to things that detract from your mission.
Right. And going back to what I was saying is like, okay, so Thursday to Sunday, people start their weekend.
Yes.
Okay. So if I'm doing my intermittent fasting every day, if I'm sticking to my structure, right? I fast every day. I have my feeding time every day, like my feeding window. Right. And I'm taking in exactly what I need to build my body. And I'm doing that 7 days a week.
Right.
I go to the gym 6 days a week.
Right.
Okay. So if I have 7 days of current consistency on taking care of my body, 6 days at the gym, and you're giving yourself 3 Monday through Wednesday, because Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is your weekend.
Right.
I have a huge advantage over you.
Right.
For winning.
Right.
Because you've took that time to slack off. Matter of fact, you've made that time to slack off. So when they see the results on Instagram or TikTok, they go, man, that dude is lucky. No, I've just put in that much more work than you have.
And that's why it irks me, right? And it's not to finger point or anything, but I feel like that mindset that somebody who does well, I'm not even saying just financially or health or relationship wise, but somebody who does well in the area of expertise, oftentimes it really isn't luck. It's like a lot of hard work that goes into it and a lot of trial and error.
A lot of trial and error. And that's the other thing too, is that I take more losses than wins. In order for me to get one win, I probably went through about 10 to 15 losses.
Right.
So, but that's how I learn. I don't take that L and just go, it is what it is. That's people who have that victim mentality.
Right.
I take a loss and go, okay, what did I learn from that? Right. I know not to take fat burner pills because that doesn't work. Right. I know not to take, these ultra slim fasts and all these Ensure drinks because that quick fix doesn't work. Right. I have to make sure I learn from those losses, take this L, and then just keep moving forward. And say, okay, what is it out there? And that's when somebody says, hey, you know what? Here's what I've done for X amount of time. It's worked for me. And here's how I can help you. Then you say, okay, well, they look the part. Let me hear what they have to say. Yes. Oh, man, this resonates with me very easily. Oh, and it took them some time. I have to remove the whole quick fix mindset and just say, I got to go in it for the long run. Why? Because if I'm here on this planet, I'm just going to dedicate that time while I'm here to improve myself. Right. So it starts with self. Going back to that, it starts with self. And then once we start to do that, we learn from all those L's that we've taken. And then we say, okay, here's the wins. Right. The L column is like this. The win column is like this. And then we say, here, person who's gone through exactly what I've gone through, let me help you expedite the process to get from where you are to where you want to be, because I've learned from all those L's. Right. And I don't want you to go through the same thing. It's super simple. I feel it. But people are like, oh, woe is me. Woe is me won't get you to the next step. Right. That's the biggest problem that a lot of people are facing. So when it does come to the mentality and they're not feeling their best, that's because they're not giving their body their best.
Okay.
The food, the sugary drinks, and all this kind of stuff.
And that doesn't mean you can't have a cheat day or whatever you want to call it, right? Or where there's room to indulge a little bit. This is not a pitch for saying you need to live like a monk. This is a pitch for saying do the right things at least 80% of the time.
Just get started first.
Just get started, yeah. And so going back to, okay, so now we discover purpose.
Yeah.
We take our first step.
Yeah.
What are some of the common issues that you see among people? Like if we're talking about 93% of people in San Diego County being unhealthy, and how have you been able to help lately? How have you had an impact there?
Well, number one is the food choices,
Okay.
right? So I don't tell people to go on diets. I don't encourage diets for people because
Yes.
people go on a diet, then they go off a diet,
Right.
right? But it's a matter of saying, okay, I realize that when I eat food, I start to feel bloated.
Okay.
Okay. When I eat food, 20 minutes later, I'm ready to go to sleep.
Right.
Your body is telling you the truth.
Right.
Okay. So now it's like, okay, let me see what's in these foods. But most people won't make the time to even do that.
Right.
So when you realize that a lot of foods that we're eating on a daily basis is lacking exactly what our body needs, you start to say, okay, now that I know the information, I got to figure out what to do because I'm tired of feeling this way.
Right.
And there's a lot of foods now that are becoming more addictive, but they've taken out the nutrients that are exactly making you feel better. Remember when you talked about the Greek philosophy of like the food is thy medicine?
Right.
So if we're eating food on a daily basis and those nutrients are taken out, that medicine is gone.
I feel it.
And it's replaced with what? Just take this
Right.
and come see me in 90 days.
Right.
Oh, that doesn't work? Let me up the dosage for you.
It's so crazy what you say because I rewatched What the Health. It's a Netflix documentary,
Yeah.
and it deals with a gentleman who looks at his family's illnesses and is paranoid about him becoming ill as well. And it's a journey one into how our food choices are led by or governed by big money, all the way to the Food and Drug Administration, one, and then two, about how pervasive really bad nutrition is in America and what we actually believe is good nutrition. For example, he claims that the food pyramid is all wrong, right? And so where does the food pyramid come from? Well, it's really sponsored by big corporations who are trying to sell food.
Right.
And they influence through lobbying. They influence what we eat, and they make decisions that may not be in our best interest. So I think self-education is huge. I don't claim to have the perfect or the right diet, but what I do know is you don't want to leverage or you don't want to eat processed foods. You want to avoid that as much as you can, right?
Yeah, but on top of that, here's the thing too. I like to teach about food freedom now.
Okay.
Right? But it's knowing how to take that in.
Right.
Imagine me, you, and 9 of our other friends say, dang, there's a lot of people that's feeling good and looking good. We ain't making a lot of money off of these people.
Right.
So how can we make more people sick so we can make more money off of the sick? That's where it starts.
And that's so unfortunate.
Right. Because they're all about money and power.
Right.
So, hey, let's go ahead. Let's get the 9 other homies in here real quick. Let's go ahead and start making more people sick. We're going to actually take out exactly what they need so they can get more sick. And then the other homies that's jumping in with us, yeah, we're going to go ahead and have them start giving more medicine because it's not going to fix the root problem, but it'll keep them ongoing.
Yeah.
Kind of help with the symptoms,
Right.
But we're going to get paid now.
Well, and I think it's so sad. Like what you're saying then is even our medical industry, right, is more interested in dispensing pills than fixing the problem at its root cause. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, it is. So here's me. I'm the food corporation. He's the drug corporation, and we're doing this. Hey, let's go ahead and shake hands and let's make some more money off of the people out there.
I like you so much.
Let's get them sick.
Go. Yes.
You provide all the stuff that helps with the symptoms, but they'll never feel better.
Right.
But we're just going to keep making money off of them. Were you
But we'll keep them alive long enough.
Yeah, you're in?
We milk them, we don't slaughter them.
Yeah. Great.
I'm in.
Let's keep doing it. Yeah.
Let's go.
And then we sit in the back and we watch and we go, look at that person over there in the hospital. Oh, we don't even know their name. They're just another number, but we're getting paid.
Right.
That's the mentality that they have.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that. So then you take all the sick people, all the confused people, and they go, well, your diet versus this diet, or your food preference versus this food preference, yours is, we're better than you because we're choosing this over here. Nah, they sitting in the back laughing,
Right.
watching people get sick, and then they make more money off of that person. Both ways. I'm gonna make you sick, and then I'm gonna go ahead and give you a pill to help with a symptom. Well, shoot, if I had a bunch of homies that can help more people feel better and start to have a healthier lifestyle with all of that stuff, that's where I want to be.
Okay. I
Right?
feel it.
So
Yeah.
here the problem is out there now. So now it's like, okay, well, how about we come up with a solution?
Okay.
So that's my mission, is to help people with the solution and not worry about diets, not worry about fighting over whose food preference is better, not worried about eating after 7 p.m. because they said
Right.
that we can't eat after 7 p.m.
Right.
So my mission is to help people eradicate all of that garbage out of their head and say, apply step 1, 2, and 3, and you're done. And the first step is to get started.
Okay. Get started. So what we have so far is get started, find purpose, right? Like, or at least think about what could get you out of bed in the morning and what you would like to
Yeah.
improve.
Yeah.
And then food choices, right? To keep your energy and your level of productivity and your level of functioning well without brain fog, without
Yes.
migraines, without constipation or diarrhea.
Right.
How to perpetuate that, and
Yeah.
maybe dive into that a little bit deeper. Like after we're done with the feeding our bodies,
Yeah.
what are some other levers people can pull?
Well, it all starts with the feeding, right? Like I said, so food freedom is absolutely what I like to educate people on. Okay. So if you get started with the food freedom and you start to feel better, because your body is saying, hey, if you keep feeding me like this, I'm going to treat you like that.
Right.
So when you start to feel better, you're going to automatically do better, and you're going to want to go and get into the gym or go do a class or go hike. You want to because you feel better.
So now we're talking about habit stacking, right?
Yeah.
So take one good habit, and then it's easier to start incorporating the next good habit.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many people have you known, you included, me included, have started something and then we stop? And
know.
then we start and then we stop.
I know a lot of people,
Yeah.
including myself.
Right. Including myself too. So what happens is we start and stop, and we go, nothing works for me. Right. But when you start to build these habits on a daily basis and your body is telling you the truth, your mentality is telling you the truth, you're like, man, I can't stop now. I don't want to stop. There's so many people right now that I know personally who have created these habits, and they feel so good that when a significant injury comes, like my wife, she rolled her ankle, right? I know people who are on crutches, people who are dealing with stuff that may have accidentally happened. The doctor is like, well, you can't work out for 3 weeks. Do you know how frustrating that is to hear that? And they're like, I need to go in there.
Right.
Because they built those habits.
Right.
So going back to what we initially said, when people said they're lying on their deathbed and you wish to switch with somebody, those who get injured, those who go through something where it's just like, man, like I got to be out for 6 weeks. Now I'm going to do everything I can to get back in there earlier.
Right.
Right. That's the mentality that you developed because you've executed towards that.
Right.
Versus those who are just like, nothing works for me. Oh, they're lucky. Oh, the blame, shame, and complain game.
Right.
They'll never get to where we want to be because it's like you haven't built that habit yet.
Right.
Why? Because you haven't got started yet. Why? Because you haven't taken care of your mentality and your gut health yet.
Okay. Expand a little bit on the gut health, for example.
Yeah. So with the gut health, that's your second brain.
Okay.
Right.
I've heard that.
Right. If you continue to feed your body toxic foods and you're giving your body all this garbage,
right,
do you think you'll have mental clarity, number one?
I don't think so.
You won't.
I think you can function.
You can function, but you function poorly.
You function poorly.
Put yourself in a phenomenal way where you're taking care of your body, right? You're taking care of your gut, your second brain. And then I'm over here doing the complete opposite. Who's going to perform better?
No, absolutely. And, you know, sometimes I see in the workplace, people partied all weekend. And that's why Mondays are then so challenging. So just saying, hey, maybe like take the foot off the gas Saturday night and like drink a little bit less, so Sundays can be for rest, relaxation, and your errands, so that come Monday, you're not in the state of like, oh God, I need to recover from the weekend.
Right.
And that's just a very small example.
Right. Very, very small example. But if you take care of the gut, your second brain, and you allow your body to rest and recover. That's why I'm so big on intermittent fasting.
Right.
Right. So if you're doing intermittent fasting and you're allowing your body to rest, recover, restore, rejuvenate, you start to feel more refreshed.
I feel it.
Okay. So your body's not working at that time.
Right.
It's actually repairing.
Okay.
So you start to feel better. Right now, I'm talking to you. I'm still fasting. My energy is high as Bobby Brown right now. Okay. So,
Okay, Tony will do a Bobby Brown dance show for us here in a couple of minutes. So stay tuned.
yeah. Take my strap back.
Right.
Okay. So now, when you are ready to eat, you want to be able to nourish your body. Okay.
Right.
So now we're talking about the micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals and the fibers that you want to put in your body. Going back to what you said earlier, the Greek philosophy, right? Food is thy medicine.
Right.
Well, if I've taken all of that medicine out, that's a problem. Now that I'm teaching people how to literally say, okay, here's what you need to nourish your body, which your gut is related to your brain. Now you're starting to feel better. Okay. So that's why I'm starting to teach more people about taking in the vitamins, taking in the minerals, taking in the fibers to start with, because your body needs that. Your body's being robbed of that.
Right.
And then when you do have your proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, that's going to help with the external side as well. So now we're taking care of the internal, the gut health. We're taking care of the external, right? And now we're 100% nourished. And we don't need medicines.
I like that.
We don't need injections. Okay?
Who wants them?
Right, because there's a lot of side effects that comes with that, right? Okay? Well,
And it was sorry to interrupt for a second, but it was amazing seeing this in What the Health. And granted, it's a documentary. You know, I don't know how much of it is true. I haven't done any fact checking, but there was a woman who was on, I think, like 10 to 18 different types of medications.
right.
Right? She felt like she was on her last leg.
Yeah.
And then by magic, like this guy finds her. I don't know if he was the catalyst for her changing her diet to a whole food, plant-based type diet. And I'm not espousing that that's the right thing to do, but just incorporating better foods made her drop 90% of her medications.
Yep.
And it was mental health medications,
Right.
blood pressure,
Right.
I mean, you name it. She took that medication, and she was an obese lady. And the woman was, at the end of the day, crying because she could get rid of all these pills that you have to take on a daily basis. So ladies and gents, boys and girls, if you are on all these different type of medications, or if you have concerns about that, there are the steps that we outlined for you. And Coach Tony Drake has a platform that you can check out.
Yeah.
And he's not the only one who knows this knowledge. You know, like if you don't think his face is handsome enough or his bicep is big enough, you know, you can find somebody else. I'm being silly. But don't take it just from us. Do your secondary and tertiary research a little bit, but look for the breadcrumbs that we just dropped. Like if there are corporations that monetize you, mean through food or through medication, and you're ill and you're sick, or maybe you're just not feeling right, just be mindful of it and dive down. There are people like Tony who teach this, who you can reach out to, right? And we'll share his handles at the end of the interview. But those are the things you can do to become 360 degrees more holistic.
And the other thing is this too. Check this out. Speaking of medication, right? So I've had clients from all over the world. And one woman in particular, she was taking 12 different medications. Okay. 12 different medications for 10 years.
Wow.
So in 6 months, I had her doing the fasting. I taught her about the micronutrients, the fibers, making sure that she was able to not worry about a diet, not worry about weighing the food, but just knowing how to nourish her body.
Right.
Okay. Fasting, vitamins, minerals, and 7 different fibers. Having her proteins, fats, and carbohydrates.
Right.
She got off of all 12 medications in 6 months. Right?
Attaboy.
But why?
Yes.
Because we attacked the root problem. The root problem is the gut, the insulin resistance. Okay. Now, once that started to happen, that's a real life testimonial. I asked this question to every single person. I'll share another testimonial real quick. I asked this question, and I'll ask you.
Okay.
And I want people to comment below.
Okay.
If you're on one medication, has that actually solved your problem?
I am currently just taking one medication, and it helps me balance myself out.
It helps.
But
did it solve the problem?
that's a good question, and I would actually have to give it a lot of thought.
Right.
But the other medications I've taken
Yeah.
over the past,
Yeah.
penicillin, I literally don't take medication.
More so like high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes.
I've controlled all of that through diet.
Exactly.
Right.
So when it comes to the medications that we're taking, I ask people all the time, whether I'm on TikTok live, whether it's in person, I say the medication that you're taking, has it actually solved the problem?
Right.
Well, no, it hasn't. Okay, are there any other medications you're taking? Yeah. Which one? Well, I have to take this one because this medication causes this side effect. And this medication I have to take because of these two. So they're literally having an orange cabinet now full of medications, but guess what hasn't been solved? The root problem.
Yeah, I feel it.
So going back to shaking hands and making money both ways, that person is still over there now loaded up with all these medications, but the root problem hasn't been solved. I help people solve the root problem.
Okay.
So they can get rid of the medication.
Well, I mean, to just pause for a second, what a life-changing experience it is to go from 12 medications, did you say to zero?
To zero in 6 months.
12 medication to zero in 6 months.
Yeah.
Ladies and gents, boys and girls, if you're on 12 medications, I would strongly encourage you to get into action and do secondary and tertiary research. Reach out to Tony, reach out to your trusted health advisor, or find a trusted health advisor and come up with a game plan. I'm not saying if you need blood thinners or mental health medication to stop that. We're not doctors and that's not what we're advising. But come up with a game plan to improve your weight, to improve your inflammation and those sort of things. And that, I think, is a good first step as well.
Right? It is. And we're not talking about, that stuff that you mentioned. I'm talking about gut health because that's what we're on the topic of, right? So if 93% of people are sick and it has to do related with gut health,
right?
That's what I'm focused on.
Right.
Okay. So like Ace said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I don't want to be one. I just want to help people solve the problem naturally. So when we're talking about the gut health, yes, that part, the solution is there.
Right.
Right. And so the coaching is there. Right. The community is there. Okay. The testimonials are there.
Right.
Right. And it's a trip because now when I think about it, when I'm talking to you and all the testimonials that come about, there's women and men who are going through so much, but they do this.
Sure.
I don't want people to know.
Sure.
Because then they'll think of me this way.
Yes.
Not me. I'm saying I want to know so I can help you solve the problem.
Absolutely.
So then you can go make an impact on so many other people.
And I don't think I think what you're describing is maybe the feeling of shame or inadequacy, right?
It's being vulnerable.
Exactly.
Because of what other people may think.
And that's what I loved about your program. It was so encouraging and non-judgmental, right? Yeah. And that's why I wanted to drill down a little bit. When you're pointing people out and saying, homie, you do need to take action if you don't want to have this repetitiously occur to you.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But in the essence of this interview, is there anything else for our audience that can help them crush the year that we want to drill down before we wrap it up?
Oh, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is stop hoping and wishing, right? Don't wait for Mondays to be magical. Don't wait until after the holidays because you might not even make it to the holidays. Just think about that for a second.
Yes.
Right? And I'm talking health-wise, right? Yeah, I can go outside and get hit by a truck. Everybody says the same thing. But I'm talking health-wise. You may not even make it to the holidays.
Right.
Right? So why not get started now and just start taking care of you first now and stop making all the excuses? And that's what I tell people. Yes, mid-year, cool. You got the rest of the year to focus on you.
What do we have? September, October, November, December. 4 more months.
Right. But most people will say, oh, I'm just going to wait until after the holidays. For what?
For what? Yeah.
What's so magical about that?
Right.
Right. What's wrong with starting August 26th? Nothing. Because we still got, no matter where we travel, no matter where we go, we still have to live in our same body and our same mentality.
I feel it.
Just start today. Just get started.
Just get started.
Yeah, that's it.
Any last things you'd like to share with the crew here, with the group and our audience?
Well, shoot. Now, the thing is this, is as I'm going back to what I said earlier, I'm very direct, but I'm direct with respect. So if you feel that I've attacked you I'm not. It's just calling you up and saying, look, if this is what you're going through, then let me know and I will help you. But I have to take a different approach now because I don't want to sugarcoat and lie to people. I want to help. And if it takes for me to be direct with respect and it hits you and it affects you, then that's good because that's a step to help you move forward and not to just stay stagnant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Brother, thanks for giving us the unvarnished truth.
You already know. Come on, dog. Come on, man.
I love you, man. Thank you
Love you
for
too,
having
brother.
been here. And before we part, please share with our audience your social handles, how they can find us, your website, and like maybe one or two things that you have in the works now. Congratulations to get
Thank
your
you.
office off the ground. I'm
Yeah.
excited to come see it.
Yeah.
And just share your handles and anything
Yeah.
else that where people can find you.
Yeah. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. It's all Coaching by Drake. Twitter too, or X or whatever.
Yeah.
Coaching by Drake, all one word. And coachingbydrake.com is my website. But everything else is strictly Coaching by Drake.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Well, listen, guys. Tony's gonna do the dance now. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate that you've spent the last 45, 50 minutes here with us. It's much appreciated on our end. Hopefully, we can help. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will funnel them back to Tony, and we'll get you some answers. If you have anything that you want to ask him or me, please reach out to us. And thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, that.
And we'll see you on the flip side.
Yeah, that.
Boom.
Let's get it. Yeah, that. Let's go.